Hey y'all, let's talk about some more permaculture, perennial, edible plants that I'm growing in my garden. So this is one of our natives. It looks a little janky right now, and we're gonna replant it because it is not happy in this pot. So this is known as Apios Americana. The Native Americans called it Hopness. Even though it is not technically a peanut, it does have edible tubers, and when we replant this, hopefully we'll find some underneath. This is somewhat related to wisteria, so it does have these beautiful flowers on it that show up in the middle of summer, and then right about now you get these edible bean pods. These bean pods are high in protein. This is a brand new plant this year, so this is its first year growing. So we didn't get as many bean pods as I would have expected, so there are about 4 on here. And once we get this into the ground, I'm gonna pick all these. We'll try them together and see how they taste. And then I'll save the rest of them just to see if I can get them to produce more plants for next year. So come with me on this side of the house. We'll talk about growing conditions, and we will get this planted in its forever home. So this is the location that I've chosen to plant the Apios Americana. As you can see, we don't have gutters up here, so all of the rain washes down. And the reason why I chose this spot is because this plant loves wet conditions, and that's one of the reasons why it's doing so bad in this pot. It did great in the spring when we had a lot of rain, but we haven't had rain in probably 6 weeks down here, so it's got to go in the ground. So this plant is native from Canada all the way down to Florida and as far west as Colorado. It does have a compound leaf system, and I'll do some up close pictures probably up in this area to give you an idea of what to look for, just in case you want to try to find this in the wild. The tubers are edible, but it is best to cook them. There's a little bit of research to show it does have some toxicity to rats, but there was nothing I could find on the toxicity of eating the beans raw. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this in the ground, and then we'll take a closer look at the tubers once I get it out of the pot, and hopefully there's tubers. These plants also prefer sandy or loamy soil. So if you have a spot like we do a lot down here in the south, it's just Georgia red clay, you want to make sure that you do amend that soil with some compost, some sand, some humus, just to give it a little bit more breathability and a little bit more drainage. I'm just carefully digging around the nuts and the tubers and the roots so I don't damage anything. These things do have a pretty intricate root system. I'm almost kind of worried that this spot won't be enough, but hopefully it will be, just to get a small harvest. And I may end up having to take it off of this. In fact, I think I'm going to, just to make it a little bit easier. It looks like the root system from both sets of plants have kind of intertwined, but it's really cool. I'm gonna bring you guys a little bit closer so you can see. How cool. You see the little tubers on here? So these are edible, and this is what's called the ground nut. The root system looks really good on this plant. I'm really, really happy to see it. It's very big. It looks like it takes up the majority of the pot. However, now I'm kind of wondering if this discoloration is probably still lack of water, because this soil is pretty dry, but I think that this plant dies back to the ground in the winter, so it may just be getting ready to lose all of its leaves because we have had some cooler weather down here. Yeah, check out these tubers in this root system. I mean, it took up almost that whole entire bucket. So you want to make sure that if you do grow it in an apartment that or on a balcony, or if you're not allowed to grow in the ground, then you do grow it in a pretty good sized pot. I would even go for like maybe one of the giant ones that you see like trees come in. But yeah, check this out. Look at all those little tubers. I'm almost tempted to harvest some and cook them just to see what they taste like, but I really want this plant to thrive, so we won't harvest this part until next year. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this soil prepared. I know I brought my shovel somewhere. I'm gonna go ahead and get this area prepared, and we're gonna get this in the ground. Oh, I didn't realize that was in y'all's way. They're all in here now. I just have to go get some water and water her in, and we'll keep an eye on her. She should be fine. Shouldn't be too much shock since the weather's kind of fair and we are getting a little bit of a cooler cold front coming in. But I do want to try one of these beans with you guys. So they're said to be high in protein. This season, off of these 2 vines, it produced about 5 beans, which I didn't expect much. Anyone who's grown perennial food crops knows that usually the first year or 2 you don't really get a whole lot of harvest, and it's best not to harvest them. It's best just to let them grow and do their thing and get settled in, and then year 2, 3, 4 you should get more and more and more each year. So next year, about this time, 12 months from now, we will harvest these tubers. We'll give them a try. We'll probably fry them or boil them and do a taste test on that. But for now, we'll go ahead and taste the bean pod. Now, these were on there for a little bit long. Usually beans you want to harvest as soon as they're done growing, but we'll go ahead and give them a try. I like them. These taste like snap peas. Like, they really, really remind me of snap peas. So that one was a smaller one. I wonder if, and I noticed that it does have like a little, like, you know how beans do. You have to snap them and pull that little thingy out. So yeah, I would definitely harvest these young. These might be a little too old. And here's what the beans, the little seed looks like inside. Probably gonna keep these other ones on here, let them dry out on the vine, and then plant them just so I can get some more plants. But this is 2 plants. So definitely thumbs up from me. So if you're not growing Apios Americana, definitely keep an eye out. I found this one at a local backyard native nursery. It was just, I found it on someone on Facebook that had them, so you might be able to search groundnut, Apios Americana, or Hopness, and see if you can find it locally in your area. If you do go foraging for it, make sure that you are harvesting responsibly, and you only need a tuber or 2 to get started. So harvest responsibly. We'll see you guys later.